So I have a question for you. When it comes to getting all these amazing IPs and high value IPs, Boom is now like solidified its place as like a premier place with, Power Rangers, WWE, Buffy, Firefly, just to name a few, not to mention all the Kaboom books, Adventure Time,
Steven Universe.
Yeah. What's kind of helped Boom get to that place as being like a premier place where people want to say, hey, listen, I want to make a comic book. I have to go with Boom.
Yeah, I think the thing that you have to keep in mind is that when Boom came into the marketplace, you look at people had already staked their claim on the Transformers or G.I. Joe. And as a young publisher, you might sit there and look at these big licenses and be like, I would love to get my hands on that. But the truth of the matter is Hasbro or Fox or whoever it is has their partners already. And so what you have to do is you have to sit down and you have to look at, okay, what are the things that are going to pop not now, but later? What are the things that are going to, what's the next wave? What's the next generation? What's the cutting edge? And then you have to evaluate where the places in the market you see the action is happening and where the audience is growing and developing. And then you have to attack the things that you have a taste for and a passion for and a love for, because I think that's what makes the difference. I believe no matter what you do, if you put your heart into it and you care about it, people as humans are attracted to that. I don't know how many songs you've heard where it might not be your genre of music, but the sincerity that's expressed through it in an artistic way is like undeniable. And I think that's true for anything that you do. It's true for photography, it's true for theater, it's true for film, TV, and comics. And if you put your heart behind it and the audience can see that, that's the differentiator. And if you do it as a cynical cash grab, the audience knows that, and they can recognize that.
They can say, oh, we're not interested in this. They just want to get this out so they can get a check, and they're not interested in telling a real story.
Well, and we're fans. We've all bought that toy, read that comic, fill in the blank, where it was the thing that was super important to us, and you could tell that the people that were doing it, it was a job. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, I think that has been one of the secrets of, I believe in comics. And through that, growing up, comics were recognized in the superhero world. But I would have friends that really I knew would love comics, but there wasn't a comic book that I could give them. Because let's say, one of my favorite stories to tell is one of my best friends went to see the original X-Men movie in 2000 with me. And we came back to my apartment and he turned and he looked at me and he said, I'd like to read an X-Men comic book. And I thought, X-Men were collected in trades, but the taxonomy of that wasn't very clear, and I had my own X-Men comics, and what am I going to do, hand him a half box and just say, dive in, where to start? It's very, very hard to make it accessible. And so to me, what's exciting about licensed comics is, here, you love Firefly. I can give you this Firefly comic book. It's really easy. I think it's one of the things that's made Walking Dead so successful is somebody can, and I've seen people walk in from the street into a comic book store and start to read The Walking Dead. You start with volume 1. And to me, it's like we're in this exciting era of comics where like civilians are coming in and they want to read comics and they want to try it out. And so I want to publish the comic books for the people that are stepping into the business. Doesn't mean that I don't want to publish WWE comics for guys that are in comic shops today. Absolutely love doing that.
Of course.
But at the core of it, it's like the super exciting thing is the explosion in kids publishing that's happening. And it's happening some in the direct market, but it's really happening. Like the Dog Man, which is hardly carried in the direct market, has a 3 million copy print run.
Wow.
So
3
million. 3 million. So wrap your head around what's happening in elementary schools, in libraries, all the way across the country, in Canada, internationally. It's so exciting. Women are reading comics. Marvel and DC claim that their readership is about 25% female. Just think about that. That's exciting. Those demographics are changing radically.
Yep.
So we're doing publishing for women with Boombox. It's generally by women, for women. There's some guys in there, but generally speaking, that's a female audience pointed imprint. And that readership's growing and escalating, and there's all these exciting things that are happening. And to me, it's like, where's it going? That's the fun. I love the future.
Of course.
And that's where my mind's at. Like, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? And when you're starting off, you got to think about what's next year, what's the year after that, where is it going to go? I played football, and they always say, in high school, like run to where the ball's going to be. Yep. Right? Because if you run to where the ball is now, the ball's going to move.
Yep.
And you get there and you missed it.
Yep. You're going to be the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
And you're going to completely miss that.
Yeah.
So I think that's also really important to know where things are going and have that instinctive sense to be like, okay, this IP is going to be the next thing, or this story I can tell is something where people are going to gravitate towards and have that recognition. That's
recognition. Yeah, you see now in the marketplace, diversity is exploding. So like just today, you can look at that and you can go, okay, well, like, will diversity be as hot 2 years from now? Maybe not as hot, maybe more. I don't know, but it's probably not going to go away.
Yeah.
So like that's an exciting area of the marketplace to go engage. Like at this moment,
it's exciting to go and create new properties for new types of people who weren't normally identified with the comic book. So.
New audiences, man. I love that we're in this really exciting place in the business where people want to read comics. Now, are we going to make the comics that they can read, or are we just going to exist with what we have?
Absolutely.
And, you're either growing or you're
dying.
There it is.
There it is. And so you always have to kind of focus on creating that. What's something you do to get people that aren't normally reading comics into comic book stores? Like, what's something that you can kind of like be like, okay, this is what we're doing. Is it by creating a certain type of book? Is it by doing a certain type of ad? Is it by kind of combining both of them? Like, what do you do to get like the elementary kid who never picked up a comic book in his life to go, okay, I want to go and check out that particular thing?
Right. Well, there's two answers here. So the first is licensed, the second is original, and we'll just breeze past the licensed answer. You license WWE, then you go engage in social. It has a fan base, right? Same playbook with Firefly, right? People love Firefly. Go online, tell them it's there. Have a conversation. So we'll put that to the side. If you have an original and you're trying to engage new readers, the thing is like I look at, we're doing this new series this week called Sparrowhawk. And the thing about it is it's written by Delilah S. Dawson, who is a YA book author, so a non-traditional comic book writer. Now, she's written comic books before, but she's not, she didn't come from the direct market. Okay. So she has a reach that's unique. And then you add to that, the lead character is a biracial character. So now that opens up a new audience for you. Then it's a fairy comic book. So I think it's more female-centric in its appeal, which is not to say that I don't love good fantasy. So I love great fairy stories. Hellboy is really a fairy story at its core. So that has a different kind of reach to it and different audience. And then you take something like that, you go discover a tremendous artist or give them an artist who's already been discovered and give them a unique platform and match them correctly with the original material that you're putting together. And then you have a piece that's exciting that you can then show to press. And then you can go to press and you can say, like how high, what kind of height can you climb? Well, it depends on how unique your story is, how exciting and engaging your story is. And so with Delilah, who's somebody who is a YA author who, has a profile and sort of the biracial lead character and sort of the fantasy milieu that the story is being told in, you have a tremendous opportunity to go to, is it USA Today or somebody and say, hey, we have something really unique. We have something really special. Come check it out.